The side split is one of the most difficult stretching positions to achieve, and if you didn't know that, well, now you know. And if you're wondering how you can achieve the side split, well, let me tell you that just by going into the stretching position, trying to touch the floor with your hips won't lead you there, especially if you are a beginner or an intermediate, because your muscles are too tight, all right? And you can't gain more range of motion just by doing this side split. It's just too uncomfortable, all right? What you have to do instead is to use other exercises which will allow you to gain more flexibility in your legs, in your hips, in your back to achieve the side split. And this is what we'll be talking about in this video. The flexibility guy, Coach Elia. Hey guys, I'm the flexibility guy, Coach Elia, and in this video I'll be showing you the top 3 exercises you want to do if you want to achieve the side split. But first, let me remember that if you want to achieve the splits, you can check out this book, Split Stacking on Amazon, where you'll find all the exercises and all the progress you gotta follow to achieve the splits, alright? So you can check it out in the description down below, alright? Now, with that said, let's start. Alright guys, so if you want to achieve a side split, you have to stretch your hips, your legs, and your back with other exercises, all right? Not only with the side split. Of course, the side split will play a role, but it's not the only exercise you have to do, all right? And the first exercise I want to show you is called the Tailor Pose, and you just need a wall. Tailor Pose stretch. This exercise is excellent for your adductors and hips flexibility, more specifically for your hips ligaments, because this works on your hip external rotation, all right? And it's excellent to stretch your adductor muscles and the ligaments you have right under here. All right, which are really important muscles or ligaments you want to stretch if you want to achieve a side split, all right? So all you gotta do is to sit down with your back against the wall like this, and you bring your feet as close to your hips as possible, all right? From this position here, all you have to do is, of course, touch the wall with your lower back and with your upper back as well. So you just want to sit down against the wall, and from this position, with your hands, you want to push your knees down. All right, and you can go until you feel a nice sensation of stretch right over here. If you got a couple of weights, you can put the weights on the knees, and you can also push with the hands. And your main aim here is to touch the wall with both your knees like this. All right, you can use a lot of stretching techniques, which is not the purpose of this video. I just want to show you how the exercise works, but let me give you like some guidelines, all right? So when you are here, you can push down, all right? And you can stay here 1 minute, so approximately 6 to 10 breaths, all right? So you breathe regularly, you can use the weights, or you just use the pressure of your hands, and you breathe for 6 to 10 breaths for 2 to 3 sets. Every set you do, you want to increase your flexibility compared to the set before. So let's assume on the first set I'm here, on the second one I do want to try to reach this level of depth, and on the third maybe this, all right? So I do want to say a little difference between set number 1 and set number 3. That's the idea, all right? Alright guys, so the Tailor Pose is such an amazing exercise you can use to increase your adductors and legs flexibility, and also your hips, ligaments flexibility. But now let's say the second exercise you do want to do, which is called the frog stretch. Maybe you know this exercise already, but I bet you don't know my variation. So let's see it. You just need a couple of weights and a wall. Frog stretch my way, because usually people just do the frog stretch like this. So they put the knees on the floor and they try to spread the knees apart. So rather than doing this, sorry, I'm gonna be giving you my back, but this is only because I do want to show you the exercise. So you do need a wall, couple of weights, all right? So you lie down with your back on the floor like this, and you put your feet on the wall like this. Now you want to make sure that your feet remain on the same line as your knees, all right? And you want to put the weights on the knees like this. So one weight on one knee, one weight on the other knee like this. And from here, you keep your knees in line with your feet, so don't put your feet too high or too low, just in line with your knees. You arch your back a little, all right, and you go down with your knees. So you do want to push your knees toward the floor. A common mistake people make here is getting too close to the wall with their hips, all right? So remain with your hips in line with your knees. So a 90-degree angle on your knees, a 90-degree angle between your trunk and your knees, all right, and your legs. From this position here, of course, try to push your knees as close to the floor as possible, and you can also assist the position with your hands. So you can push with your hands, and you can assist that position and that kind of assistance with the weights. You can remain here 30 seconds to a minute, and you can repeat this type of walk 2 to 3 sets until you eventually touch the floor, which is something really hard to do. All right, so frog stretch done. How does it feel? Your legs are gonna love it. And let me tell you that the frog stretch is actually harder than a side split. So if you do the frog stretch with the correct amount of weight and following the right technique, your side split is gonna get much better. But now let's see the third exercise, which is really similar to a side split, but it uses like a slightly different angle, all right, and it allows you to stretch your legs and your hips and your back much like in a side split, but allowing you to make progress in a faster way and more measurable way. There's the chest to the wall split, and again, you just need a wall. Chest to the wall split, our final exercise. So, exercise number 1, the Tailor Pose. Exercise number 2, the frog stretch. In both exercises, we were stretching our adductors, hips and legs with our legs bent. But in a side split, you have your legs straight, all right? So now we want to walk on our adductors flexibility, on our hips and legs flexibility, using a technique which is really similar to a side split. So a straight leg exercise, all right? So what I want to do here is just to use a wall to spread my legs apart. Use some socks if you want to really slide on the wall. You want to make sure you can slide easily into the stretch. So you can start here, you put your feet against the wall like this. From this position here, you do want to place your hands behind your glutes, because in this way, you're not going to move away from the wall, which is what creates the stretch, all right? So from this position, I want to arch my back, because in a side split, our back is arched. So here, the same. I want to arch the back like this, all right? And I do want to open my hips. So imagine like if you wanted to push your back away from the wall, just sit down on your hip bones rather than on your glutes. So you don't want to sit down like this, you want to sit down in an open position like this with your back straight. Now from this position, hands behind your glutes, and you slide out with your feet. That's really easy. So you do want to push with your hands, and you want to jump with your hips closer and closer to the wall. As you can see, as I get closer, I really want to maintain this kind of nice technique on the lower back and my legs straight. I do want to stop wherever I feel the stretch, which may be in the front part of my legs, or of course compared to the wall. So here on my adductors, the inner part of my thighs, or under my legs, which is of course on my hamstrings, all right? So under and in front, that's okay. From here, remember, hands behind your glutes, and you move your hips closer and closer to the wall. Now you can remain here 6 to 10 breaths, a minute, for a couple of sets of 3. Of course, I suggest doing 3 sets rather than 2, but it depends on your time availability. If you have the time, you can do 3 sets. If you don't, you can do only 2. 1 minute every time you go into the stretch. Make sure that you increase your range of motion compared to the set before. So for example, set number 1, set number 2, set number 3, you get closer and closer to the wall. All right, for 1 minute, as you stay there for the minute, you try to relax and you try to just get comfortable in that stretching position. Then the next set, you increase the stretch and you try to do better. All right, so this is the chest to the wall split. All right, guys, so these are the top 3 exercises you want to do to start working on your side split. Of course, you got to do the side split if you want to achieve the side split. But I know that especially if you are a beginner or even an intermediate, if you go into the side split, into a side split position, it feels impossible. Your legs just can't handle that amount of pressure, that amount of stretch, and it seems like you're not making progress. I've seen a lot of people just spending years and years and years just trying to go into a split, and without it working, they quit. Why? Because it's difficult. But you got to understand that the side split is not the only stretching position you can do. There are a lot of other stretching positions, and in this video I think I've explained to you the top 3 you can do to work on your side split. So you got to understand that the side split is a position where your legs and your hips are in a very, very deep stretch. So you do want to make sure that you start by stretching the correct muscles, the correct tendons, the correct ligaments, etc. And then when they are prepared, as you'll go into a side split, it will be much easier to go into the stretch and to stretch over there. All right, so that's the understanding of the position and the exercise you can do to make it happen. All right, so guys, if you enjoyed the explanations and also the exercises, etc., and if you give these exercises a go, you have maybe some questions or doubts, please feel free to ask in the comments down below and leave a thumb up if you enjoyed the video. All right, with that said, have a nice stretch and see you in the next video.